Welcome to Mr. Hanson Math. I'm Mr. Hanson. Let me help you with math. Today we're going to learn about multiplying integers. Oh, gross. I hate that word. If you watch my other videos, you already know what an integer is, and if you don't, I'll tell you right now. An integer is a positive or negative whole number. I try to keep my videos short, so if this video is enough for you and you understand the concept, then that's fine. I think that's great. But I understand that probably most of you will need some additional help. So at the end of the video, I provided a link. Click on that link and I have another video where I just work out more problems. I explain it as I go. I explain my steps as I go. It's not this same video again. It is, this video is intended to teach you the steps and the process and the rules. And then the video at the end where or the link at the end, the new video I have, is just like me working out more homework problems. I just work out the steps, I explain myself as I go, and that should provide additional help and review and exposure to more problems where I think it will help you understand this principle better. Please click that link at the end of the video if you need it. An integer is a positive or negative whole number, and we're going to be multiplying. For instance, some integers might be 3, negative 4, 16, negative 3,178, or whatever. These are all integers, positive or negative whole numbers. We're going to be multiplying them. So let's take a problem. Let's say, and there's a lot of different ways to express multiplication in math. As an elementary school student, you've probably encountered 3 times 2, where you guys used an x. And that's common and acceptable. But once you get into upper level maths, junior high and into high school and college, it's pretty rare that you'll see an X. Now you math nerds, what about scientific notation? Well, scientific notation yourself. I'm aware of that kind of stuff. There are circumstances, I get it. But in general, what you're going to find, you, my viewer, not my nerd, but you you're going to see something like this, 3.2. That dot means multiplication. Or you might see 3 open parenthesis, 2 close parenthesis. You'll see the second number enclosed in grouping symbols. When you have a number touching a grouping symbol, that's called implied multiplication. There's an implied, that means it's understood to be there even though it's not there. So 3 times 2, and that works for all grouping symbols. For instance, 3 open bracket, 2 close bracket. That also means 3 times 2. When you have a number touching a grouping symbol, regardless of what grouping symbol it is, parentheses, brackets, braces, all that stuff. When you have a number touching a grouping symbol, it means multiply. So these I'd say are the most common, probably dot and groupings and parentheses are probably the most common. So bottom line is, let's get started. 3 times 4. Hey, I'm not going to waste your time. The answer is 12. The answer is 12. I'm not here to teach you times tables. It's kind of understood that you've already done that. I'm here to teach you how to deal with the negatives. I'm telling you, negatives is the most difficult thing that I've found for students learning pre-algebra and beginning algebra math. And so we're going to deal with the negatives. That's what I'm going to help you with. What I need to tell you is kind of like a code. You need to crack the code to see if the answer is going to be positive or negative. I'm going to give you a little table, a little chart. It's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. If you take a positive number times a positive number, you will get a positive answer. If you take a positive number times a negative number, you will get a negative number. If you take a negative number times a positive number, you will get a negative answer. If you take a negative number times a negative number, you will get a positive answer. This is the thing you got to memorize. I'm sorry, but if you memorize that sucker, you'll get them all right. This is the only level of difficulty. Positive times a positive is a positive. You already know that. We talked about it. Like 3 times 2 is 6. You know, positive number times, so you don't have to memorize that. You only got to memorize 3 of them. Positive times a negative is a negative. So if one of them is negative, the answer will be negative. Negative times a positive, negative. If one of them is negative, the answer will be negative. If they are both negative, the answer will be positive. So let's practice a couple of these. Let's take 6 times negative 2. What we're going to do here, similar to adding and subtracting integers, where you just take big number minus small number after you go to war, when you're adding, you have to find the number and the team. You have to find out how many people are still alive and what team they're still playing on. If you don't know what I'm talking about, click on adding and subtracting integers. 2 very good videos for that. But what we're doing here is do 2 things. One of them, just multiply 6 times 2. 6 times 2 and find the number. Then find out if it's positive or negative. 6 times 2 from our times table is 12. I don't want to waste your time. But we know that a positive number times a negative number will yield a negative answer, negative result. So the answer is negative 12. Let's practice a few more. 3 times negative 4. Again, a number touching a grouping symbol implies multiplication. A number touching grouping symbol implies multiplication. Just take the numbers. 3 times 4 equals 12. 3 times 4 equals 12. And it would take a positive number times a negative number will yield a negative result. The answer is negative 12. What if the negative is first? Negative 5 times 2. Negative 5 times... Yeah, I don't care. I don't care. Just look over here. Just look over here. Take the numbers. Just go 5 times 2. 5 times 2 equals 10. And then a negative number times a positive number will yield a negative result. The answer is negative 10. Negative 5 times 2 equals negative 10. Let's take something like negative 3 times 10. Negative 3 times 10. Take them and multiply the numbers. 3 times 10 times tables. That's 30. That's 30. You better know your tens. And you take a negative number times a positive number. Going to be a negative answer. And the answer is negative 30. That's where it's come from. There's no magic here. There's no magic. You follow this table. You just multiply the numbers like you already know. And if they're big numbers, use a calculator. No big deal. But this is the key to tell you if it's a positive or negative answer. Again, you already know positive times positive, positive. You already know that. You only have to memorize 3 of them. If there's one negative, the answer is negative. If there's 2 negatives, the answer is positive. They cancel out is what they say. They say the negative times the negative cancel out. Or the words that you're probably going to hear from your teacher. The negatives cancel. So let's get started. What else can we do? We can do 6 times negative 8. Gross, brackets. I'm uncomfortable with that. That's new to me. Guess what? I don't care. I do care, and that's why I'm showing you. I want to eliminate the intimidation that comes with brackets. It's just a grouping symbol, just like parentheses. They mean the same thing. They perform the same function. They're grouping symbols. When you have a number touching a grouping symbol, you just multiply. 6 times 8 is 48. And then a positive times a negative is a negative. The answer is negative 48. If you've only got one negative, your answer is always going to be negative. Your answer is always going to be negative. Well, what if I don't have more negative? Well, I got a bunch of something else. What if I got a negative 2 times a negative 3? Guess what? I don't care. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 3 is 6. Negative times a negative is positive. The answer is positive 6. Negative times a negative is a positive answer. The answer is positive 6. Let's move on. Let's take negative 4 times negative 5. A number touching a grouping symbol. A number touching a grouping symbol. A number touching a grouping symbol implies multiplication. So 4 times 5 is 20. Negative times a negative cancels, as they say. Negative times a negative cancel, and you get a positive result. The answer is positive 20. What if you have, oh, gross. Oh, gross. Guess what? I don't care. Grouping symbol touching a grouping symbol implies multiplication. When you have a grouping symbol touching a grouping symbol, whether it's parentheses, bracket, braces, bracket, parentheses, braces, whatever. If it's a grouping symbol touching a grouping symbol, implies multiplication. So 7 times 3 is 21. Negative number times negative number, the negatives cancel, and you get a positive result. The answer is positive 21. The answer is positive 21. Now I'm going to increase the level of difficulty. What if I multiply more than 2 integers? Well, how do I deal with the signs? For instance, what if I have negative 2 times negative 3 times negative 4? Negative 2 times negative 3 times negative 4. Guess what? I don't care about the signs. Multiply the numbers. Just do it. 2 times 3, and in order from left to right. You'll understand that when we get to order of operations. Or if you already know the order of operations, you just go from left to right. So 2 times 3 is 6, times 4 is 24. So the answer is 24, but the answer is not 24. Let's check out the sign. We always have to check out the sign. I'm telling you, negatives are the thing that bite people that are new to pre-algebra and algebra, is the negatives. So let's eliminate their difficulty. Let's go over here to our chart. A negative times a negative cancels, and I got another negative, so the answer is going to be negative. That last negative didn't cancel with anything. I got a negative times a negative times a negative. These 2 negatives canceled with each other, and I got 1 negative left over, so the answer is negative 24. What if I have negative 5 times negative 10 times negative 1? I don't care. Multiply the numbers from left to right. 5 times 10 is 50, and then 50 times 1 is 50. So the answer is 50. But the answer is not 50. I still got to find out my sign. Find out the number, find out the sign, find out the number, find out the sign. Negative times a negative times a negative. I got 3 negatives. These 2 negatives cancel. I got 1 negative that's not going to cancel with anything, so it remains in my answer, negative 50. Let's practice some more. Negative 2 times 2 times negative 3. I changed it. Do you notice what is different about this one than the prior 2? This middle number is positive. Guess what? I don't care. Just multiply numbers from left to right, dude. 2 times 2 is 4. Times 3 is 12. A negative times a positive is still a negative number. This will be negative 4. and then times that by a negative. So we got negative 4 times negative 3. So negative 4 times negative 3, that cancels, and I get a positive 12 when I'm done. This time there are only two negatives. They canceled with each other. I don't care if they're next to each other. I don't care if they're across. I don't care. This negative stays until it cancels. So the answer is 12. Let's practice some more. You'll see. 4 times negative 1 times 3. I don't care about the signs. Just multiply the numbers. 4 times 1 is 4 times 3 is 12. A positive times a negative, positive times a negative is going to be a negative value. So this is negative 4 times a positive 3. So I got negative 4 times positive 3. So negative times a positive is still negative. My answer is going to be negative 12. My answer is going to be negative 12. What if I take 6 times negative 35 times negative 41? Good grief, guess what? I don't care. These are big numbers. Well, I'm not asking you what the answer is. What I want to know is that answer a positive or negative? Is that product, the answer to a multiplication problem, is that product positive or negative? You'll see those kinds of questions maybe. I want to make sure you get them right. Is the product positive or negative? Well, there are two negatives. They're going to cancel with each other, so it's going to be positive. It's going to be a positive answer. Use a calculator to find the number. I don't care about the number. I just want to know if it's positive or negative. What if I take negative 17 times 14 times 3 times negative 35 times negative 6 times 47 times negative 1 times negative 13 times negative 58. Is that sucker going to be positive or negative? Is the product of those numbers going to be positive or negative? Well, the key to solving it is if there's one negative, there's nothing to cancel, the answer is going to be negative. You notice it. If there's only one negative, the answer is negative. One negative, the answer is negative. One negative, the answer is negative. But if there are two negatives, they cancel, right? If you have two negatives, the answer is positive. Two negatives, the answer is positive. If you have two negatives, they cancel. If there were three negatives, the first two canceled, and you still had a negative left over. If you had three of them, the first two canceled, you had one left over. If you have two of them, they cancel, the answer is positive. If you only have one of them, nothing's going to cancel, the answer is negative. What I'm trying to get at is if there's an odd number of negatives, the answer will be negative. If there's an even number of negatives, the answer will be positive. Watch this. You have this negative multiplied by a positive, still negative, multiplied by a positive, still negative, multiplied times a negative is a positive. They cancel. I got another negative, I got another negative, I got another negative, and I got another negative. I got 6 negatives. These two cancel, these two cancel, and these two cancel. There's no more negatives left over. The answer will be a positive number. The answer will be a positive number. Hold on, let's practice a few more of those. That was a little over my head. Negative 6 times 4 times negative 3 times 8. Is that going to be positive or negative? If there are an odd number of negatives, odd numbers are like 1, 3, 5, 7. Even numbers are 2, 4, 6, 8. So if there's an odd number of negatives, I don't care about the positives. Don't even look at them. Just look at the negatives, see if they cancel or not. 1, 2. That's an even number. They're going to cancel. My answer will be positive result. And then multiply the numbers on your calculator. Find out the number. I don't care about the number, but it will be a positive value. What about negative 4 times negative 3 times negative 2 times negative 1? I just need to count up my negatives. 1, 2, 3, 4. These two cancel, these two cancel. I don't have any negatives left. The answer will be a positive number. And you guys, if that video was too short, if that video didn't have enough examples, if that video was just shy of, you're a little shaky, but you think you kind of got it, but you're a little shaky and need some more help, I want you to click on this video right here. What I did is I made a video with more problems where I work out more problems. I don't just repeat what I just said. That'd be a waste of time. You can review this one, rewind it. Or who rewinds? Just start over at the beginning. But what I did is just do more problems. I still explain every step that I take. I just don't develop, I don't work out the process. I just use the process. So click on that link. I got more problems, and hopefully that helps you lead you to success.